out on their first series, and they're going to be going up against the Flying Blobbos. And honestly, if you told me at the beginning of the season this is how Illusio's corners would go, I'd be a little surprised. Honestly, I think a lot of people were kind of like week 1, 2, 3 were really expecting this to be kind of like a grand finals matchup, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, things can get wild very quickly in Strikers Academy. So while I agree that I'm surprised, I am also excited. I mean, we've got two really good teams already fighting it out. One of these going on, trying to save their life. Other one goes home.
Yeah, it's a bit scary too. And after losing your first series, you definitely don't want to go out on it. And I think the character, kind of the player to watch here for that is going to be Tempo Melon. Obviously, I think has been playing so well so far this season. And I think that she's kind of come up as the star player on her team. So I think that a lot of hopes are going to be riding on her and her performance here. But on the flip side of that, Mangoes Are Yummy, I think another player who I'm very curious to see how they end up playing this series, because it really does feel like Mangoes has the capability, has kind of that lock-in capability to be by far and away the best goalie in the league. But as of right now, I haven't seen that just quite yet, and I'm hoping to see that sometime this series.
Nope, this is the opening gambit. Overtime has been going on for a hot minute as they are trying to fight over that core. That banish came out, stopped everything for just a little bit, but we've got full meters, but that one just got slotted in. Fire Madden knocked that one right in the top corner for the first goal. Hopefully, Flying Blobbos can keep that up if they want to move on.
Notably as well, right, this is J-Man and Fire Madden, sort of the legendary duos that sent us into the era of Magnetized Souls. So they're going to work incredibly well together, and I think that they are one of the duos, even here in the North American Strikers Academy, that you really cannot fall asleep against. They have one of the best synergies of any forward duo, I think the NAS just generally. So they're going to be looking to play very clever to get around your defenses, and it's going to be up to Tempo and Mangoes to prevent any sort of shenanigans from happening. We already saw that there in the first point, Rune catching out Mangoes Are Yummy, and there we see it again, the kind of the raw Scyther 12 hook to come out against Mangoes here. And even though it's nerfed, the fact that J-Man's going to be pulling it off means it spells that I think Flying Blobbos are here to play.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Flying Blobbos here to play, but so are Oncoming Traffic. They have the power play. They have the aggression. Power play is over with Fire Madden coming back, trying to answer back, and they do. Beautiful barrier take, trying to push that advantage. There is the banish, gets deflected, however. Flying Blobbos definitely trying to make something happen here. Tempo Melon looking low on life, nearly staggered, trying to get everybody off of her. But that Oni's blade coming out, deflected, denied. Beautiful stuff, beautiful defense. But it only lasts for so long. Flipped in their face, sent them to the back of the net, and following is the core. Tied up 1-1.
Yeah, that was a bit of a cinematic play there from Koingan, the KO, and the gold right there. And I think I didn't talk about it much because I was talking about my expectations for the series, but this is a fairly damage-heavy game. The specialized training 1-2 punch can lead to a lot of doom and destruction. And I want to talk about this 1-2 punch on the Era, right? Mainly not known for damage, the Era goalie, but what 1-2 punch allows Era to do is now she has something that she could use for core speed. She beams the core and then strikes it. It activates that 1-2 punch, which allows her to potentially red core in overtime situations to get kind of that discount team player. On the converse side, it does also allow the Tornado to actually do a significant amount of damage because it immediately procs off of that first tick, but still not going to be, it's not like it's Vice or anything, but it is something to think about as well, especially because Mango's forwards are the Vice and the Centauro, two characters that are very good at getting a lot of damage out very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And you can see like a lot of damage coming out in general. Coin letting that blade fly. Banish comes out to tell them to cut that out. Fire Madden, lowest as possible on life. Staggered, but health is a resource. Knocks it in bottom corner. Not prepared for it are Mangoes. They do manage to take the lead with that one. 2-1 for Flying Blobbos as we kick this one off.
Yeah, already we see some of that damage already. J-Man gonna be sent from one side of the map to the other and off that damage. And as of right now, it really feels like Fireman and then J-Man, they are finding these clever goals. They are finding these kind of interesting passing plays or 1-2s in front of Mango's net. And I mean, the Era just doesn't have any buttons to really react to that sort of thing. So Mango's is going to have to be very heads up. He's going to have to be on top of things in order to prevent this from happening. And right now, Banish comes through. Good flip from Coin defensively, but there are just no resources on the side of Oncoming Traffic right now.
No, there aren't, but they are still managing to make things happen. There's still a lot of damage that's coming out. Pensando not looking too healthy. There they go. Core goes a little bit flying, freewheeling as this power play for Oncoming Traffic continues. J-Man trying to do something with it, trying to take advantage, but looking low. There it goes, double KO. The passing play begins. Up, down, all around. Where is it going? Bottom corner. Oncoming Traffic with the tie-up.
Yeah, just textbook performance there. Textbook passing play on a power play between Coin and Tempo Melon. They've got that synergy locked. They've got their studying done. They've done what they needed to do to get that offense going. And we've got a tied up set here for set number 1 already. What has been a very back and forth NASA playoffs continues to do so, as right now J-Man and Fireman in a potential opportunity to close out the set.
Yeah, they do very nearly. Coin has been swinging, so has J-Man, and right now it is open barrier for Oncoming Traffic. One barrier does get taken for the side of Flying Blobbos. They have to watch out, protect that second barrier as best as they can as this core continues going. Flip goes out, stuck by Fireman. Coin, on the other hand, across the world, taking bodies, stacking them and racking them, but power play is on the side of Oncoming Traffic. It is one woman against the world. Coin doing their best to try and get that barrier. They do manage to make it as J-Man does come back, but that is still a power play. Not for very much longer. They do manage to recover, but all of a sudden they all like lost half of their stagger. J-Man is down nearly again. Pensando doing their best to try and stop this onslaught, but no dice, nothing doing. And that is point 3 and the set for Oncoming Traffic, certainly hitting like a truck.
Absolutely. They are the ones to make the first blow here, and they're going to be the ones rewarded for it as well. This is a phenomenal draft. Tempo Melon, pick of the litter, to go that extra special, which guarantees that Zentaro gets that explosive entrance or heavy impact. So now it's going to be rough. On top of that, Pensando loses out on the Monumentals. It does go over to the Rune, which is not nothing, but overall it feels like everyone on the side of Oncoming Traffic got something that they wanted, and it really feels like Pensando and J-Man have to just work with what they're given. Obviously, the aerials still going to be useful. A Dash Awakening on now is no joke, but it's certainly much more stronger on the midfield iteration of the character rather than the goalie. So good KO coming out, though, to start it off. And, I mean, this is just a really strong draft for Oncoming Traffic, but as of right now, it's a power play for Flying Blobbos.
Yeah, Flying Blobbos are the ones looking to take advantage, looking like they're the ones who got all the pain. And right now, it is 1-0 as they are trying to work back and tie this up in sets very quickly. Let's see how they manage to make it work.
Something to keep in mind as well is going to be those evade meters for everyone on the side of Flying Blobbos. With this specialized training to start the Vice off, that means that a fully charged Supernova really can threaten to KO you from 2/3, 3/4 even health. If you're not careful and you don't manage that energy well, Tempo Melon will take advantage of it as one of the most killing midfielders here in the North American Strikers Academy.
Yeah, they will as that Banish goes out. J-Man looking a little bit low at first, but Pensando got their back. Now says, I can heal you. It's fine. Barrier gets taken on the side of Flying Blobbos. 1-1 for both teams. Tempo Melon looking dangerously low, bleeding, trying to stay in the party. So is J-Man. J-Man hovering around, gets that bit of energy, recovers that life a little bit of an extra lease on life, but not so much for the side of Tempo Melon. Gets snagged, dragged, and tossed off the pitch.
And still power play now for Flying Blobbos again. Ooh, amazing stop by Coin there, using the slice and dice. Assisting Mangoes are yummy with the clear as well. Tempo Melon going to back up the power play now coming to an end, but the offensive play from Flying Blobbos is not totally out yet. Pensando sends it up to his brawler, not going to get the goalie barrier, and now Tempo Melon going to be looking to clap back there, is able to do so, gets the final goalie barrier. Coin now, no evade to his name, half HP, now 3/4 to work with. The Rune Pillar mixes Oncoming Traffic up a little bit, and they're still trying to get the clear through. Another Rune Pillar as well does the same. Tempo Melon now passes up to Mangoes Are Yummy. Coin desperately trying to get a hold of the core, but it's just really not coming to him. And now J-Man, a point blank flip here, gets it through off of the pillar that Fire Madden gets down. And this is the most synergistic forward duo in the NAS, ladies and gentlemen. That was insane. That looked intentional, and that looked practiced. That was a crazy offensive play coming out for Flying Blob.
That was a pinball shot, perfectly timed, perfectly executed, and right now it is 2-0 for the side of Flying Blobbos as they do take that second barrier. There it goes, open goal. One barrier gets taken in recompense, but I don't think Flying Blobbos are looking too fussed about that one as they continue the offense. Pensando moving up, all three members of Flying Blobbos doing their best to try and push this one, end this set real fast. Flip goes out, nearly countered by the arrow, but it does get cleared for a bit of a moment. The black hole doing its best to send it where it will, but not so much, not happening. Side of Oncoming Traffic does manage to clear it out. Pensando doing their best to make that a short-lived situation. Mangoes Are Yummy has a full stick of butter to keep that core safe and contained so long as it doesn't go flying, which it's about to in 5, 4, 3, 2, and there we go. Overtime, and that core is about to go flying. There's the red. There's the life on the side of Coin doing their best to try and get something, some sort of offense going, and that will help. There goes the flip, and there was a sick attempt at trying to go across the country, but wow, that was a demon angle, and that was a demonic snatch.
Now it's going to be a power play again for Flying Blobbos. This time on set point, flip comes out for J-Man. Oh, the pendulum sweep doesn't hit it, but Fireman there to make up for it in the end. And that, I don't know what to say. That was just clean play coming out from Flying Blobbos. Really feels like J-Man and Fire Madden, they're the ones to be looking at in this series. They want the attention, even though I gave Tempo and Mangoes the analysis at the beginning of the series. And they're going to be sort of rewarded for this. I think the Mighty Colossus is going to be very big for this Rasmus here. But on the flip side, Castellas 4 Rune team player as well, going to be picked up by the Era, which means that core speed is going to be coming out very quickly, especially with that 1-2 punch. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of red cores even before overtime coming out from Mangoes Are Yummy.
Yeah, what kind of surprised me, though, is the Rasmus took the Spark of Strength, not so much the Might of the Colossus. I think it's very clear now at that point. J-Man kind of feeling the sparks. Maybe want to try like a Mayor Sparktown build. I forget what you call that, but whatever. Yeah. We are going into third set. Coin looking very low. Coin been trying to be a bit of a daredevil this whole game, just operating on low life pretty much half the time, if not most of the time. And it's been helping. It's been doing good, but there's only so long you can get away with that.
And I think what's interesting too is I think opting into that Spark build. Sorry, just going back to Awakenings. I'm a bit old, you see, and it is guaranteed or near guaranteed if he gets anywhere high on the pick order here. That because there still are 2 Sparks left in the draft and still at least 2 sets to play out here in the game. So gonna be interesting to see what happens with that. A lot of size still left in the pool regardless. So even if J-Man didn't want to scale with size, he still could pick it up should he not get the Sparks himself. But going back to the game here, a good hook almost sends the core right in, but for now, it is Oncoming Traffic's power play.
Yeah, wow, just dashed it straight through him. Red core, Pensando just caught sleeping at the batter's box. Could not get that one, and early lead on the side of Oncoming Traffic, trying to bulldoze their way through as they had been attempting earlier. We need to see if that's going to be effective for them now. First barrier goes down. Coin trying to do something to get it forward, but nope, that pillar is causing a lot of problems for Oncoming Traffic. They got to swerve, and they're not quite able to do that. Fire Madden has been on a tear this whole game.
J-Man now going to be the one taking punishment. Oni's Blade's going to secure that kill as well as the Banish comes through onto 2 members of Oncoming Traffic. As, oh no, it looked like Pensando saved it there with the Dorito mine. This Coin's going to be trying to get this corner offense going. Temamel playing interference with this Supernova. Not going to find anything, though. The defense comes through for the Flying Blobbos. A three-man offense now coming forward for them as well. Rune Pillar makes this essentially a 4v3 right now, but the strike boards just aren't there. Finally, though, the barrier's going to go down. J-Man, though, paying for that with his life yet again. The impact is made, but not without its sacrifices. Oni's blade comes through. Coin very close to flip as we enter overtime here. Oh, but mangoes are yummy. Caught on the reaction check by Fire Madden. That's going to be a point stolen here by the midfielder of Flying Blobbos, and that's how we're going to enter in this third point of the set.
Yeah, Flying Blobbos, that, like I said, Fireman has been playing like a monster this whole game. Beautiful pillar placement and timing. There's another one that gets that barrier, that snatch out that red cord, gets that second barrier. Open goal on the side of Oncoming Traffic. They gotta be very careful not to crash here. Coin looks like they are about to go flying, nearly hits the wall. No dice, manages to save themselves again. Meanwhile, there is a sick offense being heralded by J-Man and Fire Madden, doing their best to try and get something happening, but they do manage to take back control due Oncoming Traffic. Oh, for a moment, mangoes are yummy, misses the clear, and that's 2 points. Flying Blobbos on the cusp of taking this set. Not what you want to see from Oncoming Traffic.
I mean, that's just, it feels like it's just 2 goals have been stolen right under Mango's nose right now. And that's just so unfortunate to see for the side of Oncoming Traffic. Mango's needs to lock in. He needs to figure out how to not get mixed up by Fireman. He needs to figure out how to play against this rune, because he was doing it a little bit earlier in the set. It really felt like he was playing into those potential pillars on earlier really well, but now he's just not, and it's a little bit scary now because of that fact.
Yeah, mangoes are yummy, kind of got caught lacking more than once, and it's becoming a concerning chink in the armor of Oncoming Traffic. J-Man doing their best. There they go. Second pillar down. Open goal on the side of Oncoming Traffic yet again. Coin trying to do something to keep that core on the opposite side. J-Man having to kind of like stay back as they get into like a bit of a strike war. They do manage to clear it out. J-Man takes a shot on goal, not quite hitting it, tries to hook him out of position. Oni's blade comes out, red core going a bunch of miles a minute, going crazy. They are doing their absolute best to clear this core out. Coin clears out J-Man, and this is their opportunity. Power play on the side of Oncoming Traffic. They need to get this. They need to get this barrier. And mangoes are yummy. Misses it again. Misses the bewitching beam to try and clear it out. Mangoes are yummy. Mangoes ain't looking yummy. Mangoes are looking a little bit rotten. Gotta step it up, my dude.
Yeah, it's a bit rough seeing those mistakes come out. We'll see if Draft has anything for him to potentially make up for. I'm looking at things like the fight or flight, the twin drive, the size even as well, but this is a spark that might have to be denied here as we are entering in the third spark range. Who's going to be the one to deny it, though? I'm actually a little bit curious. It is going to be Mangoes Are Yummy. It makes the most sense. Super Surge now going up to Tempo Melon, but I don't think J-Man's too upset over that. Gets the fight or flight first place participation award, essentially. And this is still Erasmus that is going to be threatening third spark, even if you win this set. So this is still a very good drafting situation for the side of Flying Blobbos. And if it continues, Oncoming Traffic may find themselves in checkmate very soon.
Yeah, very concerning. Coin looking like they're about to get checkmated themselves, getting bounced around like a pinball, a little bit more than the core even. And J-Man not looking too healthy either, but they're the ones on the attack, are the Flying Blobbos. It is Oncoming Traffic that have to swerve out the way. There goes one, there goes Coin, and I was about to say there goes the barrier, but no, they do manage to clear it out, but they do not get anything in recompense. Power play continues for Flying Blobbos for a little bit.
Yeah, and power play ends, but a new power play might just start. I don't know which team it's for, though. J-Man has the heal burned by Pensando. Gonna come back up, but not gonna have any evade notably coming into this overtime here. We'll see. The Supernova does come through, which buys a little bit of time here for the health bars of Flying Blobbos to recuperate, but it's looking scary right now. But oh my gosh, J-Man almost an absurd play. It's going to be Fire Madden, though, to close that one out. Now it's going to be an open net for the side of Oncoming Traffic here. Black Hole going to be popped before Tempo Melon can come to the net. Ooh, barely going to survive here. This Vanish has to go and get her orb in order to return to the play. This flip is looking dangerous, but also valuable, even more so now that Coin doesn't have it. Flip gonna have to be used defensively though, and Coin cannot hold on to this core for very long. The Supernova comes through, but it's gonna go right into the hands of Pensando. Now J-Man fully rotated back on the defense. Fireman with the pillar tries to catch Mangos or Yummy sleeping again, but this time it's not gonna happen. One more opportunity here for Oncoming Traffic to potentially save this game. The team player 1-2 is there, but the core is going dangerously wide in front of the net. The pendulum swing not quite big enough, but Fire Madden's going to win the interaction against Tempo Melon. They're going to be grabbing the first point here on set number 4, and they're going to be 1 point closer to taking game number 1.
Yeah, rough situation on the side of Oncoming Traffic. They've got to try and find a way to lock in. That point was contested a whole lot better than before, and got the quick double barrier. Beautiful Supernova timing. This may be exactly what Oncoming Traffic needs as Tempo Melon tries their best to take advantage. They do manage to get it cleared out, though, do Flying Blobbos. No barriers taken. Coin intercepts the attempted clear. So does Tempo Melon. They are holding that and they make it work. Coin with the dash through, cutting up a little bit and causing that tie.
Yeah, that's a play that's got to feel good for Oncoming Traffic, and they're going to be needing to ride that momentum here to a set win if they want to set themselves up to win this series. Right now, the offense is coming through. The Supernovas here actually forcing Pensano to give up one of his barriers here. Another one might come soon as well, but one from Oncoming Traffic is going to go down. Good reaction here to avoid the Vanish, and now it's going to be -1 goalie for the side of Flying Blobbos, but J-Man and Fireman playing so much interference, the core is not even leaving the side of Oncoming Traffic. Going to get through eventually, though, and that's Oncoming Traffic now opening up the net here for Flying Blobbos.
Yep. Bewitching Beam comes out for a little bit, but a better pillar to counter that clear, gets that second one open, and open goes on both sides. Supernova comes out, Flip comes out, Pensando can't catch it. Little bit too slow on the side of Pensando, and that core squeaks through, screaming at like 1,000,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, that felt good. Again, you got to ride the momentum even farther. It doesn't just stop after 2 points. You got to secure that third one as well. 1 KO going to be found, though, a power play, but J-Man and Pensando on the breakaway. It's going to be a double barrier. Tempo Melon has Flip, but J-Man has the 1v1 against Era, loses possession of the core, though. That means this power play might come through. The flip there is there for J-Man. The power play is going to be over. This is looking really bad for the side of Oncoming Traffic now if they don't get this KO. J-Man, though, he has it, though. The Banish is there as well. The KO going to be found, but the core is going to be saved. The mix-up is there as well. And the point found. J-Man absolutely tearing through Oncoming Traffic right now. Flying Blobbos do not want to lose this game, and they want to take their advantage here for the series.
Beautiful, beautiful offense on the side of Flying Blobbos, firing on all cylinders. Coin doing their best to remove J-Man. Tempo Melon with the cleanup. Power play immediately on the side of Oncoming Traffic. One of their barriers get taken on the offense. This core is already flying. Bad boys! Unfortunate for Oncoming Traffic. They do clean it up with that flip. Core going wild for a moment. Fire Madden looking low on life. They are very in scary position. Excuse me. This is a high tense situation.
Yeah, I mean, all your marbles on the lines. Oh, and Tempo Melon, a raw Supernova KO going to be found. The power play here on the potential final point of the game. Mangos or Yami going to send it up to the midfielder, but it's going to be up to Coin. The 1v1's here. The Oni's blade as well comes through. The pull from J-Man, though, as he comes back up. And now they have to deal with this flip from Fireman, and there it goes. Oh my god! Barely makes it out alive in that situation. The pillar just not quite perfect enough. As we enter overtime here, the Supernova sends it to Coin. The core speed going to be used to score the point. And Oncoming Traffic, they are driving at Mach 50. They're barely holding on, but they will keep charging along here. Coin going to be MVP.
Yeah, Coin has been doing some great stuff here, and they do have a number of options here. I'll be honest, I was kind of looking at the prize fighter just because of the KOs they've been getting, but Primetime also excellent. Keep up that offense, keep up those scoring opportunities. Prize fighter going to the Vice, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Really, really, really scary. But on the flip side, I'd even say that the bottom half of this draft is more impactful than the top half. That prize fighter, like you mentioned, can be very scary on tempo. But let's look at some of the other stuff. The hot shot on the Rude. Sorry, the stacks on stacks on Pensando. This core speed is going to be scary. And this is Era's nightmare scenario, right? The situations where the core is going to go right up into her face, where she's not allowed to play a slower game and play that secondary midfield opportunity. And even though it leads to a bit of an awkward own barrier from Fire Madden, I expect that the core speed is going to be a huge problem for Mangers Are Yummy coming into this. And even though that glass cannon is nice, it does enable that secondary midfielder playstyle. It might not mean anything, though, if you're just going to get your goals sniped away.
Maybe, but so far they are making it work. Supernova comes out, and there's a KO. Coin kind of like stood there for a little bit, but they did manage to clear it, and they did manage to defend the, well, never mind. I was about to say they did manage to defend the power play, but not quite so much. First point in this last set going to Oncoming Traffic. Coin with a full stick of butter, got that flip ready to go. Tempo Melon, not exactly far behind. First barrier gets taken. Immediate supernova sends Fire Madden flying. Flip goes out to try and get that second place. And pop goes the black hole, and bodies are flying all of a sudden. There they go again. Another one. Another one. Barrier being defended desperately. Sad Boys actually allows it to happen, but Wild Angle does not get any barriers in recompense for Flying Blobbos, and everybody's back. I'm not even gonna say things are calm, because things are far from calm, but things are a little bit more expected, shall we say, in terms of chaos happening in this game.
Right now, what I am seeing expected, though, is this ramping up offense coming out from Oncoming Traffic. That being said, I might be stopped dead here. This KO on tempo comes through. Yeah, it does. That's one prize fighter stacked down. The flip burn from Mango snipes away the barrier, though, and Coin with a little bit of a breakaway. No, loses the opportunity. Now, that's just what to expect from an Era in the 1v2 situation. Bit of a scary thing for Mangoes Are Yummy to defend. I don't even blame him for that one. And all of a sudden, like you mentioned, we're back to expectancy again. Tempo Melon needs to get that one prize fighter stacked, but we saw kind of a glimpse there of the chaos that Oncoming Traffic could bring to the table. All of that damage, all of that pressure all of a sudden came through for them, and we need to see that one more time this game, or else it might be the victory for Flying Blobbos here in this losers qualifier.
Yep, and that banish comes out, and Flying Blobbos trying to set up. They do take the barrier. They do take a life. Do they take the goal? Not quite. Flip missed. He missed the flip. It was going at like 2 miles an hour. They still managed to clean it up. It's a match point for Flying Blobbos. I don't know if they deserve that, but I'll take it. I'll accept it.
A little bit goofy,
I'll allow it.
Goofy, but we got it. And you know what allowed them to do it? Off of an amazing passing play by Fire Madden. No ego on this brawler, who, by the way, plays midfielder like a third of the time for this team anyways. So is going to be taken out of the pitch for now. Mangoes Are Yummy, really good clear against that pillar. I like that angle. But going back into it, this is a power play here for Oncoming Traffic. They're going to need to find more KOs right now, because Fire Madden with this hot shot rune is so deadly, so scary. The banish comes through. The pull going to give them one more opportunity here. The offense looks honestly beatable, I guess, as Oncoming Traffic are able to find their way through it, but it's going to be up to Pensando here to now defend this goal. Coin going to march his way up here with the Yodi's Blade. The strike war going to be won by tempo, but it's not going to be enough to score the goal. Now Mangoes Are Yummy, 2v1 situation in the Era, finds the miraculous clear in between the two forwards of Flying Blobbos. The pull's going to be there. The core speed's too much, and this is potentially game here for the Flying Blobbos. Pensando with a flip looks so dangerous. The pendulum swings there, but Coin is able to catch it here as we enter overtime. No, it's just not enough. The supernova, unfortunately, comes out a fraction of a second too late. And it's going to be Flying Blobbos here taking game number 1, and what I'm sure is going to be an incredible series here in the losers qualifiers.
Bit of a heartbreaker on the side of oncoming traffic, but for that first game, it was the Flying Blobbos who managed to fly right into the windshield, but they did not splat. No, they caused the big rig to crash. Just that one, though. They do have another shot at it. This is best of 3, and we know oncoming traffic is not gonna let that fly for very long.
Yeah, and I so incredibly rarely look at Twitch chat, but I had to look because, guys, if you are not in the know about the Potat stat, you guys got to know this. So Potat is going to be your referee for this game here, and if there is one rule that statistics has told us here this season is that you do not want to lose game 1 when Potat is your ref. His current streak for reffing games is 16-0. He has never reffed in 16 series a single game 3 in the NAS. So if you are Flying Blobbos, I mean, chance is just on your side. The wins of Potat are on your side, and you've got to be feeling good. If you're on oncoming traffic, you better bring out the crucifix because you've got a curse to break right now. Again, I don't think I've seen a more interesting statistic in the NAS. I think that's so funny. But On need to lock in if they want to overcome this because, well, I mean, Potat has not missed so far this season.
Concerning, but hey, for the side of oncoming traffic, that just means you could be the first. Mm-hmm. Don't let that shake you. Don't let that panic you. That just means you have a rare opportunity here to make history. So They need to lock in. They need to calm down. Say like, we nearly had it. There were a couple of mistakes here and there. It's fine. We know how they work. We know how they work now. Let's do this. So.
Yeah, and there are some learning opportunities there, right? I think that, again, the forward duo, let me just clarify, Petsando, a mechanically amazing player. He's done a lot of work. I think coming into this series, I know that one of the big talking points was his character pool, right? How does he look off of Juno and now? And I think that is something that he's worked to expand on in the series. So he's got a bit of a champion pool now that I think looks good, is competitive, can play to Flying Blobbos' strengths. So I want to acknowledge what Pensando has worked on this season. And in that context, I want to talk about the forward duo of Flying Blobbos again. They are the stars of the show. They are why you watch this team. They are why you are a fan of this team. You want to see some amazing synergy between these two forward duos that really look like they could read each other's minds sometimes. So they're awesome to play. And I think the big question is, what can Mangoes Are Yummy and Temple Melon do to counteract that? And I think we had some answers. And it's to take J-Man out of the equation. If you cannot have synergy, if one of you can't strike, and I think we saw some of that early. And when that happened, a lot of the other game plans that Flying Blobbos had started to crumple, started to fall away, and we really saw a lot of gaps in the armor. And honestly, you know, how strong is this team against damage pressure? Because as of right now, it looked like a vulnerability in that previous game. It really did. It really felt like Tempo Melon, even by herself, was able to take advantage of that, notwithstanding what Coin was able to put out as well. So going into game number 2, I'm really hoping, or if you are an oncoming traffic fan, you are really hoping for a damage start, because I think that's their way. But if it's going to be survivability, if it's a peak performance, spark a strength start, bit scarier of a situation, I think.
Bit scary. Gonna have to kind of, no pun intended, flip the coin there, I think, if you want to try and focus on that damage. Get somebody designated on that spark and kind of like play your hearts out. And here's the thing, on the side of oncoming traffic, I'm not trying to like dog on anyone. Mangoes Are Yummy. When locked in, great defender. But there were a couple moments I felt where Mangoes kind of got caught sleeping at the wheel, so to speak. And it happens to everybody. It's fine. Just, you know what happened, and just like be ready for those high pressure shots. Be ready for those very, very fast shots. And easier said than done. I'm aware of that. Easier said than done. But with how this team of Flying Blobbos has been operating, it's one of those things where just play like every, and this may sound stupid, so I don't know, like experienced people. It feels to me like you got to kind of play like every core coming at you is going to be like a red core. You got to be like as soon as it gets across that halfway field, you got to be ready for it.
Yeah. And I want to build off of your point as well, right? Just being ready for things. If there is one character in the net that is just not ready for that sort of things, it is Era.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be using that beam proactively. You have to be playing from the midfield line to set up those tornadoes, to play slower, to get the corner offenses going. If the core is going just so fast that you feel pressured to stay by your net, this pick sucks. This pick is terrible. So even though I think Mango's Miami did have some mechanical errors to look at, I think so many of those situations as well that made him look bad was the fact that he was on this Era against Erasmus Rune with core speed. It really felt like, it really did feel like Mango's Yummy was set up for failure in some regards. I mean, even if you look at the stat line, right? Most redirects on his team, 2 down from those redirects in the game, matching Pensando's 286. But on top of that, more saves, right? And if you're
Yeah.
playing Era goalie and you have more saves than the enemy goalie, a game plan did not go the way that you wanted at some point. So
Yeah.
you really want to be the ones putting, you really want to be hitting things from the midfield line that won't count for that statistic. So I think
Yeah.
that tells a little bit of a story in and of itself. So I'm interested to see coming into this. We see the rune ban from Oncoming Traffic, completely understandable. It looked
Yeah.
really hard to deal with. Fire Madden piloted it very, very greatly. So looking into this, I think that's going to be, my guess is that it's going to be Pensando on the Juno, but really Fire Madden or J-Man could pilot it as well. We see Rasmus now going to be picked up. I think that's going to be Mango's on the now this time, which is a little bit not as powerful potentially in the midfield, but a little bit more stable of a pick here. So I'm interested to see how that comes out.
Yeah, one of those moments where half the team gets like picked for the other, squad. Half the characters get picked for the other squad. You know what I mean? Feels almost trying to like to throw off the team, saying like, we're just going to take your team away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And they are like, they're kind of making do, and I think they kind of call that bluff. They're like, okay, you want to swap teams? Cool.
Oh, interesting here. We've got an Era pickup. Era
Yeah.
Zentaro Juno here coming out for Flying Blobbos. And I'm interested to see what happens here. I'm not quite, I'll just come out and say it. I'm not quite sure what this composition wants to do. You've got Zentaro for a mobile brawler and damage, but on top of that, you've got a Juno for mobility and core speed, and then you've got an Era for mobility and corner pressure. So the big question is, how are you going to score? I think that's something that I'm thinking of. I'm going to ask that question. How is Flying Blobbos prepared to score? And maybe they could deal with something, right? They did ban out the Dubu, who is kind of, I think, the sole melee defender goalie that's still kind of good in the meta. So Mangoes are Yummy, I think, going to opt into that now. And if not, then now the Kai. So we'll see what happens. And those are a little bit easier goalies to get through. But if it's the Kai, I think the Kai can also hold out pretty well against that team. So yeah, I posed a question. Sorry.
No, it's fine. And I do feel like what I'm seeing like for Flying Blobbo's team is outspeed, outmaneuver, and basically cause so much confusion the other team doesn't know what to do. At the very least, that's my guess on it. That's what I feel like Flying Blobbo's game plan might be, just because of just because of what these members can do. Whereas on the side of Oncoming Traffic, I'm gonna be real, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying I'm not sure how this squadron evens out. I'm not sure what the equation here is. But it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I think we both said what we were thinking. It's gonna be interesting. I have not seen Temple Bellin on the Kai in what feels like an eternity. It was something that I know that they can play. I do not know if it matches their current iteration of play style. So yeah. I'm curious. I think I see the theory behind it. You pick it to deal with the Juno. I think obviously if you do your homework, you're gonna know that Flying Blobbos, they're gonna want to pick the Juno goalie whenever Pensando has, and even though Pensando has countermeasures, of course he's gonna want to pick the character that he's best known for, that he's most comfortable on, right? He's gonna want to do that, and I think that Kai, which has traditionally been used to counterpick Juno midfield, is going to be quite good at scoring against her because of how easily the barrage negates the slimes. So that is, I think, the game plan here, and a good score coming out from Coin here. We'll see how that works, though, because I was talking about the previous game of how some gaps were found with damage. There is just no damage. There is no damage coming out from Oncoming Traffic. You're going to have to play the Flying Blobbos at their own game, and I'm a little bit worried when you play Flying Blobbos with their own game. So it's really going to be coming down to core control fundamentals and who just plays the game better. And as of right now, that could really go either way.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is just gonna come out to some good old-fashioned Omega strikers. Whoever's the better team at the end of the day is gonna take this one, as we see a lot of flips prepped and ready. So the question is, who's gonna pop first, and who is going to try and get this party started?
Yeah. As of right now, the party's not going too crazy just yet. We're still getting our groove here as this corner offense just feels like it's been there for a million years. Finally gonna get broken here. Flip comes out from inside. Nobody's gonna whip the strike. Seems like game 2 nerves coming in a little bit here. Mangoes are yummy. Ooh, a well-timed clear though against J-Man. A good clear to start out the game as well. Now Flip from Fire Madden gonna be intercepted by both Coin and Tempo here as we get in overtime. Now another flip comes through. What is happening? Not sure what Tempo None was in there.
As the core overtime comes, core starting to go flying. Nice little snatch attempt by Coin, not quite doing though, but Pensando very nice in the net, not quite nice enough. Tempo Melon right there to keep that core up, pushes it into the net, and that is a 2-0 lead for Oncoming Traffic.
Yeah, a good way to start out the game in favor of Oncoming Traffic here. And thinking about as well how these corner offenses are going to go here. 2 ranged goalies means that you're not going to have that same staying power that something like an Atlas, like a Dubu, like an Asher would have. Rest in peace that pick. But if you don't have that, then some of these corner offenses, especially when you don't have the portal clear, can get really scary. And so far we've seen that against both of these teams. It's right now the open net has come out so quickly, right? Sub 30 seconds for Oncoming Traffic, and I think that means that these points can potentially get very, very swingy. It might be up, might be actually kickoff dependent how some of these points might go. So I'm curious to see how that strategy is going to evolve as we get farther along into this game.
I agree. Try to do a clear on the bottom end at Tempo Melon. Slight miss as J-Man tries to push that one up. Bit of a dipsy doodle attempt there. Didn't quite go as desired, but they are continuing this big time aggression. They do manage to clear it out though. Tornado and Bewitching Beam on the side of Fire Madden, on the other hand, does secure the point, and that is 1 for Flying Blobbos.
Yeah, good point there. Well played by Fire Madden. A little bit of a checkmate NATO, I think, with no evade on Mangoes there to avoid the hit stun. That's going to be a nice point for them to kick off their game number 2. So right now, this corner offense, I mean, this is just brutal. Yeah, these offenses are going to be very lopsided, just especially with that cooldown. Juno is absolutely not going to have the tools to get the core out. She's not going to have that strike speed like Dubu has, or strike size like Dubu has, or other melee goalies have. So it's a little bit scary to watch these situations. Now Oncoming Traffic, they're going to have to deal with it themselves, but a little bit of finesse with the portal play at least stalls it out, but they're not out of the woods yet.
No, that barrier gets taken. J-Man looking low, but does not matter. Just insta shot between Tempo Melon. Mangoes are yummy. They do manage to tie it up fairly quick.
And that, I feel like, is the song and tune of core speed versus core speed. Just very long, prolonged corner offenses where you're not really too worried about getting knocked off the edge of the map. And when that happens, you're allowed to position very, very well against the opponent. And as we enter our set number 5 here, look at both of these teams, right? They're prioritizing dumping into the non-portal corner as much as possible because you don't want to give any of those angles out that allow the players to kind of bail themselves out of these scenarios. As of right now, the flip from Fire Mountain going to be defended away, and I think our first KO of the game finally coming through there on the flip. Again, right, the core is going to be dumped into this corner. Again, a long corner offense is going to be found, but Fire Madden, a good strike war, is finally able to end it.
Yeah, they do manage to get that. We got one barrier down, but it's still open goal on the other side. Oni's blade comes out to secure that goal. Just a little bit too much to handle for Mangoes, and it is Flying Blobbos that take the set 3-2. Not what Oncoming Traffic wanted to start off with. Era is MVP, and I see a good couple of things ready and waiting for this little witch.
Yeah, extra special already going to be hovered and taken immediately by Fire Madden. Sets you up so well for monumentalist scaling, for timeless scaling, just for spamming the NATO in general, right?
Yeah.
Era's Tornado, one of the lowest cooldowns in the game, and already, and it's going to be added on by this extra special. It essentially has a cooldown of a secondary. Some characters' secondaries will have a longer cooldown than its NATO now, so a lot of scaling, a lot of potential here, even without the size on the NATO right now. So obviously going to be a good pickup as well. Something to look at as well that I think is going to be very good is the Deadeye on the Juno. Not only does this mean that she can actually pressure some corner KOs when she's playing goalie, right? She can throw that blob at you. It's going to give her core speed on some of these farther blobs to potentially catch Mangoes or Yummy off guard. So I think that's potentially a very economical pickup from the side of Pensando, and we'll see if we do get to see a lot of use out of that coming into the set.
Yeah, definitely something to be concerned about if you are Oncoming Traffic. That and that recovery drone quickly getting popped. J-Man getting sent straight through the portal on a bit of a trip as Oncoming Traffic do their best to keep this offense up. Not quite happening for very long. Mangoes are Yumming, having to kind of like retreat, try and save the barrier. No dice there. Bewitching Beam goes out, Flip goes out to try and clear it out, but Pensando playing an aggressive goalie Juno, as kind of expected. Second Flip goes out, but that does get defended away, and there is Oncoming Traffic doing their best to try and get this second barrier down. There it goes. There the Flip goes. Tries to get a cheeky quick goal before the barriers are completely open, but hey, Coin does manage to clean that up. Pendulum strike to the top corner, and there it is, 1-0 for this second set.
Yeah, good on Coin. Picks up for Primary to recover some of the antics that Tempa Melon was up to. Good attempt from her, but as of right now, ooh, that NATO is going to find its first victim. A good dribble from Tempa Melon, though, gives Flying Blobbos a little bit of pause here, as now they're going to be down a Flip coming into this offensive play. But again, these corner offenses are going to be prolonged. They're going to be deadly, but at least with that KO found, they're going to get the bailout that Oncoming Traffic want. They're going to get one pendulum swing, open goal now, almost going to be a quick end, but no, the clear's going to be found here by Pensando and Fire Madden, but they're not out of the woods just quite yet. Yeah, Strike War from Coin going to come through, and this is a quick 2 points coming out for Oncoming Traffic in the set.
Yeah, something I did want to mention a little bit earlier is that the adrenaline rush on the side of Coin, a bit of a swing, but can be a very, very strong swing if they do manage to get KOs. So I can imagine Coin is definitely going to be looking for a little bit more of those, going to be hunting for bodies if at all possible. Meanwhile, Tempo Melon got full stacks, got all them flapjacks ready, and that is a very, very fast little boy right there. But it is one barrier apiece for each team. It is a missed Flip, excuse me, for Coin, but it is Flying Blobbos trying their best to get that offense, and bit of an anti-power play. They do manage to get the barrier, even as one of their own falls.
Oh! Sorry, I saw Tempo Melon. That was not a good strike from Tempo. Sorry, I got really absorbed watching him.
You scared me for a second there. I was like, ah. But what isn't scary is that goal, that third point for Oncoming Traffic, much needed. Coin as MVP, I can imagine very happy about that. Might of the Colossus, ready and raring to go if they want that.
Yeah, Might of Colossus, I think, right? But so far, I was actually thinking that it was going to be a hot shot because we saw in that previous game that J-Man has deprioritized giving himself size in favor of other utility options. And I think that hot shot is exactly the pick that he was looking for. Again, core speed, potentially get through Mangoes or Yummy, catch them sleeping, and catch them in a lot of these situations. So it makes sense of why he do it. Do I agree with it? I'm not quite sure. We'll see how this plays out. But obviously, but he does have a cohesive thought process, and I get why he would want to do it too. So I think that's going to be interesting, again, to see saying a lot of interesting drafts. I think there's a lot of things at play going on here in these final few games of one of these two teams runs for the season. So a lot of consideration to be given as well. On the flip side, I think a spark pickup for Tempo Melon here, putting her at 2 sparks with 1 more potentially coming. I believe there was already one passed up earlier in the game, if I remember correctly, but we'll see how that plays out. We'll absolutely see how that plays out.
Yeah, I actually completely forgot Spark of Focus was a early pickup, so hey, it was a starter. But at the moment, what is also open is the goal, and this power play on the side of Oncoming Traffic, looking very good as Tempo Melon and Mangoes Are Yummy begin the passing play. Mangoes Are Yummy trying to feed it to Tempo Melon trying to force it through, not quite. Coin was waiting up in the upper wings, got the feed, got the shot, got the goal. That is a very nice first point for this third set for the side of Oncoming Traffic. Looking a little bit better now that they got that draft done and done with. Oh, bit of a bit of a connection issue.
Yeah, it seems like we're gonna have to put the game in a brief pause. Pensando, it seems like I actually saw my own ping spike up.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming there was a ping spike right there, and one of the players was like, I ain't playing like this, and waited there for a second. So good recognition actually of what went on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
something
cool.
hiccup. That was a bit of a hiccup on everybody. So good, good recognition on their point. Good barrier takes on the side of Flying Blobbos as they do their best to try and wrap this point up. Death Touch goes out, trying to cut that offensive play out for a little while longer. But Flip goes out, prevents the clear for a moment. Coin doing their best to keep that core up, trying to feed it, force it through. Nothing doing. This defense is fantastic on the side of Flying Blobbos.
100% agree, but again, when you have core control versus core control, you're gonna have a lot of corner offense to deal with. Oh, the NATO! Almost perfect, but Mangoes Are Yummy, such a precarious situation to navigate. Had to time everything just so perfectly, but yet that was hard, I think. I absolutely
That was a showdown, and you know, I'm not gonna blame for losing that one. As this next point gets started off, Flip goes up, does get a little bit stuck, but they are doing their best to try and force that one through. No dice, and that core goes a little bit wild. Mangoes Are Yummy, very commonly playing up. They do manage to get that barrier. Coin managing to get past the double defenders. Goes through the portal, and Mangoes Are Yummy trying to clear it out. Does so successfully. They are trying to push again. That arrow was ready and waiting. Not quite happening, though. Flip comes out from Fire Madden, gets a barrier for their troubles. Only the one, though, as Flying Blobbos do their best to try and make that double. Tempo Melon trying to move into position. Got a Flip ready and waiting. Coin as well. Giga Blast goes out. Fire Madden is staggered. Watch your head. It could be lost in a moment.
Right now, Tempo Melon playing a lot of interference right now, buying some time for Coin to maybe catch up a little bit. So right now, Giga Blast comes through just to find damage here onto J-Man. Overtime gonna be here. Mangoes Are Yummy defending though, and Tempo Melon on a breakaway no, gonna have the core taken right from her hands there by Pensando. KO gonna be found though by Coin. Rare Adrenaline Rush proc now coming through for this game here. Flip comes out from Pensando. Oh, the beam is there as well. The defense is through. A little bit crazy angle coming through. Good recognition on Coin to catch Pensando and Fire Madden off guard here. Air Beam buys a little bit of time, but Tempo Melon with the flip gets it through. Second point for Oncoming Traffic, and hey, if you want to break the curse of Patat, this is looking good. This is going to be how you do it.
Yeah, very nice on the side of Tempo Melon. Was very patient with that flip and used it at exactly the right time, but got another one to go for this set, and then a whole other set, after that. So don't lighten up on the gas just yet. That barrier gets taken. They do try and get a little bit of recompense for that. No sale. All 3 members of Flying Blobbos quick to the defense. They do manage to get a barrier, though. Coin trading most of their life for that. Another barrier, however. Take that deal any day, twice on Sundays, like today. They are doing their absolute best to try and finish this one off. J-Man nearly with the stuff, but not quite. Coin, however, staggered, still trying to lead by example, trying to push this one through. Tempo Melon with the barrage. Does it get it stuffed? Fire Madden moving up, got the flip, used it, and kind of like sent it straight to the south. Mangoes are yummy can only say so far, and on 0 life, J-Man pushes it through for the tie-up.
Wow, that was really crazy. I'll be real, I did not know what Fire Madden was cooking with that flip, but I shouldn't be questioning them because they figured it out. That looked good at the end, and starting off, Fire Madden, a quick loss of his recovery drone, but hey, you're on 0.5, use it or lose it, and right now they've got an offense churning away here at Oncoming Traffic. Gonna be an open net here now.
Yep, 1 barrier, 2 barriers. They are trying to finish this one off very fast. Oncoming Traffic doing their best to try and stem the tide. They do get that red core going, but no dice. J-Man loses their life, but even in death, I score, so to speak. Pensando being the one to actually knock that one in for the set. But hey, it looked cool.
Yeah, it absolutely did. It makes you think, wait a second. The curse might be rearing its head as the Monumentalist is here, but Air is going to be last in pick, which is super duper unfortunate for that extra special synergy. On the flip side, some mobility now coming out for Coin, actually again electing to go for something other than size here, which I think is very interesting. It's actually going to be J-Man picking up to bolster his Might of the Colossus, and something to look at as well. Twin Drive Super Surge Pensando. This is a Juno that can now play very aggressively, very quickly. So I'm very curious to see. Pensando, I think, is in his element here, and he is going to be able to do a lot of work should Oncoming Traffic even slip up for a moment.
Yeah, and you can already see it kind of like coming out, all 3 very aggressive, trying to push this one. They do get a barrier for their troubles. J-Man very low on life. Tempo Melon with basically mag dumped on J-Man and got nothing for it.
Yeah, right now we see that Super Surge Judo come through. Just so much distance covered in just a second there. Coin and Tempo Melon now trying to march their way, but they've got to get through the swamp of Blobbos here. So now the clear is going to be made, and it's going to be Fire Madden able to get to the core first. And now Mine, though, able to buy a little bit of time here, but the Blob, oh, not the Blob, actually taking down the barrier here. The flip comes through just in time now. J-Man again very low, going to be shot dead here by the Giga Blast as we enter overtime. Finally, one barrier goes down. The offense still not ending though here. Second barrier going to go down. Tempo Melon with a flip, but it's Fire Madden looking to take this one-on-one. Oh, the pass going to be intercepted here by Fire Madden. Now J-Man going to be back up, wins the interaction here against Coin. Mangoes are yummy now going to be tasked with defense against 3 members of Flying Blobbos, but the Giga Blast is going to be sending Pensando out, and that might be it. No, the Arrow Beam is perfect to defend. Coin, though, doesn't even need to use his flip. Tempo Melon strikes at just the perfect time to put an end to that defense.
That was beautiful. Tempo Melon with the SWAT just said, no, you're not clearing that out. What do you think you're doing trying to send that straight to me? Do you know who I am? But that is still a long road to go for Oncoming Traffic. They are behind in a set, so they've still got a bit of a hill to climb, but they are inflicting a lot of damage on this Flying Blobbos team. So who knows? Maybe that could be a bit of a score there. While a clear attempt, it seemed like from Pensando, gets the barrier, and Oncoming Traffic doing their best to take advantage. There goes the second one, and it is open net for Flying Blobbos, and it just goes in.
Yeah,
okay.
That's an oracle right there. You threaten the goalie because you know that it's going your way, so you don't have to strike, and the goalie realizes that too, and they just play a little bit too patient. That's aura. That's tempo. Getting their aura points in, and they're going to be looking to take this set and bring us to a set number 5 here, which, hey, if you're Pataz, things are looking up. You might get to ref a game 3 at this rate.
Yeah, we are going to see, because neither of these teams are letting go for a second. Barrier comes out. Flip gets a little bit burnt, but it is still Flying Blobbos on the offense. Tempo Melon looking low, but unloads the mag again. Shoot him up, shoot him out, and it is a power play on the side of Oncoming Traffic. Yeah.
Right now, though, it's going to get stalled out a little bit awkward portal play, I think. Yeah, Pensando going to be able to intercept that. The quarter speed's going to be there. The Oni Blade as well. J-Man actually keeps the core going, and now it's going to be up to Fire Madden, but He has to build time to set up the NATO here, and he actually does, but the clear is still going to be made regardless. Pensando here with Flip now has to deal with Coin's Flip, which seems to be dealt with pretty nicely. The Dorito going to come through as well now as we enter overtime. Again, this Juno, very, very scary, can be right in front of your net at a moment's notice, and that's something that Manigos has to respect. The Flip's going to be here, but the Dorito's going to match it. The angle, a little bit too ambitious, though, from the forward duo of Flying Blobbos. Oh, but J-Man gets it through. Tempo Melon frame killed here by Pensando, and J-Man just no window at all presented for her to strike out. Now that's 1 point on the board here for the Flying Blobbos.
Much needed, much welcomed for the side of Flying Blobbos. Kill a little bit of that momentum that Oncoming Traffic has been having, but that is still a point to go. They are working on that very fast, though. One barrier goes out, Flip comes out, does manage to get stuffed, and body goes flying in exchange. One barrier for each team now. J-Man looking a little bit low, so they have to be very careful now and hope that this power play does not get reversed.
Yeah, beautiful defense there from Mangoes Are Yummy as well. Put in a bad situation, but oh, I just had to go and catch this curse it. Now going to be an open net here for the side of Oncoming Traffic. Fireman and trying to play interference here on the on the power play. The Pensando with a bounce is able to keep it going as well. J-Man now fully back up. Nothing for the side of Oncoming Traffic will be taken now. J-Man dashes forward with the dash, is not able to find the core. Pensando now in a precarious spot against Coin. The clear's going to be made with the assistance of Fireman. Oh, and J-Man finds a little bit of a magic shot there against Mangoes. Gets that 50-50, sends it into the bottom side of the map. And now we are on series point here. Flying Blobbos have clawed their way back this set, and they are now 1 point away from taking the whole thing.
Yeah, J-Man with a little bit of the shake, rattle, and roll to get that point, and they are looking to wrap this one up. Oncoming Traffic not looking to go out quite that easily, but they may not have a choice in the matter. Both barriers done, flip in their face, pushes it through, and that is Flying Blobbos sending the course of Oncoming Traffic off course. Truck crashed. That is ball game for Oncoming Traffic. Flying Blobbos move on.
17-0.
Yeah.
17-0. 17
Okay.
series has Patat reft, and 17 game 3 is not meant to be. And I think that's gotta suck. That has gotta suck. And you know what? We got another series where Patat's reffing right after this as well, so we'll see if we can continue. But looking at that series proper, I think J-Man and Fireman obviously played so incredibly well. And I was talking about them at the beginning of the game, right? They're the star duo, but Pensando, that forward pressure that he had in the final few sets, right, with a Super Surge twin drive was killer. Played interference on so many power plays, was able to set his forwards up for so many barriers, was able to have core speed pressure as well. And even though I don't think he played by the books in his own corner defenses, the pressure that he had, I think, was phenomenal in that regard. So absolutely well played. Obviously showing us another textbook Juno goalie game out of him, and why you have to really, really respect that pick. And on the flip side, unfortunately, Oncoming Traffic, which I think, again, was expected to make it to Grands or top 3, are going to find themselves, unfortunately, ending their ride here in top 6. So farewell to them. I think they had an amazing series. All three of them, I think, played all three of them played phenomenally well and had their own moments, but unfortunately that is going to be the end of the line for that team. But we've got one more series again ahead of us, the final series for the evening to represent our top 3 here in the North American Strikers Academy. We'll be right back, and we'll see if we could see an 18-0 tonight. We'll see you in just a moment.